internet makes it look very much seamlessly for everyone. But have you ever imagined what could have happened if you were unable to understand? Well, that's a very big problem for everyone. So we're going to uncover all of the tracks in today's video, how the internet works.
So hello everyone, welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is LogSmith and I've been working into the cybersecurity for more than 6+ years of experience. I've been working with the defensive side of the security perimeter, and throughout this year I've obtained a couple of certifications which you can see on the screen. Without any further ado, let's get started and let's learn together. Think of the internet like the world's biggest and the fastest mail service. But instead of sending paper letters, what it does, it sends all of the information in a very tiny bits. So every bit carries a certain information over the internet. That's how the internet works. So proper definitions of the internet. So the internet isn't one big computer sitting behind. There's actually a joint group of many computers that are connected to each other, and they follow the same rules to talk to each other. So whenever any systems want to talk to any systems, they follow the rules. What we call it as in a digital term is the protocols. That is nothing but the rules of an engagement. Well, so what is actually an internet and why it is being called as a decentralized? Now, no single company or a government owns it. Okay, this makes it very super resilient. It's because that if one part basically goes down, then rest usually keeps working. But it also means that there is no single off switch or easy way to enforce all of the rules very globally. It is a decentralized because it was designed for survivability and resilience from its inception. So utilizing a packet switching or a distributed decision making. This was basically reinforced by an open and collaborative development. Instead of using a monolithic systems, we are basically created a very open sort of an open source environment wherein anyone can come in and they can design their protocols and they can help us to secure our environments or networks globally. So that's why it is known as a decentralized. Packet switching, so your data isn't being sent in a one chunk. It basically broken into very tiny pieces, what is being called as the packets. So you're sitting at the computer and type youtube.com into your browser. What actually happens in that split second before the page loads? It's a very fascinating journey. Let's break that down, that journey into the very few simple steps. So as you can see, first of all, your computer needs to find the YouTube address, the logical IP address, what is being called. And the long story short, once it has the address, your computer and YouTube server says hello to each other, and they starts a very reliable conversation. Then computer sends its request for the web page, and if it's actually a secure, then it request is like a very secret message with lots of encryption happening on that particular message. YouTube server gets your request, it finds the web page and sends it back. That's it. And finally, your browser takes all those information and shows you the actual youtube.com web page. And all of this is happening in very milliseconds, which is truly incredible. But how does that first step, finding the address, actually going on? That is nothing but a DNS. So remember how I said your computer needs to find the YouTube's phone number? It's the IP address. This is where the DNS basically comes into the picture. That's the internet giant phone book comes in. And that's what DNS has been known for a long couple of years. So it's a bit like a very detective story with a lot of components that is being involved, or what we can call it as the helpers which is being involved. Now, when you ask for youtube.com, your computer first check its own little memory and says, do I already know this number? And if it does, great, it quickly uses that memory and shows you the web page. But what if it is not? It's going to again check the host file which is on Windows and on Linux under etc folder. And if it still doesn't find, what it does is your computer going to ask its main helper, usually a server from your internet provider. Let's call this as your local operator, also known as the resolver. Your local operator doesn't know everything, so it asks the root server. Think of this as a very top level directory. Now, the root server says that I don't know YouTube, but I know who handles .com, and go ask them. So here what we are going to do is we're going to go .com. Actually, think of it like a very folder structured directory, wherein under the .com there is a YouTube, and under YouTube there would be a couple of files that we need to access. So from your local operator, it goes to the .com server. Now this server says, okay, I know who is in charge of the YouTube.com. Specifically, go ask their official. Now finally, our local operator basically asks YouTube owns official server. This server knows exact IP address for YouTube.com, which is nothing but authoritative name server. ANS, that is what being called. And that is the IP address is basically then sent back to your local operator and then back to your computer. And your computer saves it for the next time and knows it exactly where to find the YouTube. So in short, that's how the DNS basically work. A quick multi-step look to turn a name into a number so your computer can find any website on the planet. The internet isn't something a magical cloud. So it is being built based on the physical and the logical components that is being working together. So let's meet some of the key players, which makes the journey very much smooth for everyone. So the very first thing is the client. Okay, the clients can be anything. So these are your devices, which are laptops, phone, tablets, smart TVs. So they are the one who actually initiates any sort of a request and asking for the information. And also let's understand what is the cyber security relevance to this sort of hardware devices. So clients are often the first target for attackers, and they use certain attack techniques like malware, phishing, and the browser or to exploit aim to compromise your device to steal any sort of a data or gain controls to your machines, or what you can say as the client devices. So keeping your devices secure is basically your first line of defense. That's what I say. The second thing is the server, which is actually the provider who provides you what requests that you are being sent to that particular machine. Servers are basically the powerful computers that stores and deliver all of the web pages, files, videos, and services that you are trying to access. And we need to think of them as the digital library or shops of the internet. You need to understand that the servers are the very critical infrastructures throughout the company because they hold a very valuable information. Now, what are the cybersecurity relevance to the server? Servers are basically, as I said, those are high value targets for an attacker. If an attacker compromises a server, they can steal a massive amount of data because every request that is being sent to the server is really valuable. Now imagine that for a 100 employee company, how important is the servers, and the company who has like 10,000 plus employees that holds a very person identifiable information on that particular server. If attacker gets hold of that data, it would be a sabotage for that company, and it will come under the brand reputation of the company. So they can steal massive amount of data, as I said. They can deface the website or even use the server to launch an attack on others also. And here they are just pretending to be the server, which they are not actually. We need to understand the network infrastructure also, and the pathway and the traffic controller. That's what we say. The very first thing is the host. That is basically the backbone wherein you can think of the roads and the traffic lights on the internet. That's basically the host who is hosting that particular service. The second thing is the routers. Routers are basically the traffic cops. You need to understand that as the traffic cops of the internet. I mean, they are basically going to tell you when to go and when to stop. Okay, so they connect different networks together and decide the best path for your data packets to travel. And they also basically look at the destination address and sends the packets on its way. And our cybersec relevance is the routers are the critical control points for every network infrastructure. So they often build in, most of the routers basically comes with a built-in firewall these days, and it can be configured at what sort of filter traffic they need and what they don't. But if a router is compromised, well, we have a couple of case studies. Then I can put down that in the link description box, and you can have a read on it. So if a router is compromised, an attacker can control your network, wherein you were not aware about that what's happening on your network, but yes, attacker knows everything. The next thing is the switches. Now, switches basically connect the device within the same local network. Okay, like all the computers in your office or home, they are smart. They send data only to the intended device, not to everyone, right? So making your local network more efficient and seamlessly to everything you're trying to talk to the destination system. And the next thing is the modems. Modems are nothing but a modulator and demodulator. So your modem is your personal gateway to the internet, and that's how that's how your request goes out to the ISP or the internet provider, and it converts that digital signatures from your computer into the signals that can travel all over the internet, like all over the internet line, be it your cable, fiber. Now this can be happen with anything which can have a cable, fiber, phone line, and anything vice versa like that. The relevance is basically your modem is often the very first point of entry into your home network. Now, if you have set up a very weak password or outdated software on your modem, that can expose your entire network. That's a very bad. So nothing important, but I think you should know this. The cables, which is a physical medium, I think it's very important, because unless and until it is not connected using the cable, that's the useless. So this is the actual physical stuff, I would say. So fiber optic cables, they are super fast. They transmit data in the form of light pulses, and these are the main highways and the internet, even running under the oceans also. Okay. Second is the copper cables, like Ethernet cables we are using, and transmitting data as the electrical signals. And it's basically common for the local connections, which is known as local area networks. And last but not the least is the Wi-Fi. And relevance that what we hold is the wireless network basically needs the strong encryptions to prevent what we call it as eavesdropping. Physical security of cable and network equipment is also important. It's basically depends that you want a dedicated line wherein no interception is being allowed, or how do you want to, and this basically depends upon business to business. Okay. A very important one is the internet service provider. So ISPs are the company, basically like your internet provider, as I said. They own and operate the very vast infrastructure that connects you to the broader internet. Now, they are your on-ramp digital highway. Basically, without them, you won't be able to connect to the internet. So the relevance is, ISPs plays a very big role in blocking very malicious traffic at a large scale. Okay, at certain limits, you might be blocking the actual request into your home network. But if you want to block anything on an ISP level, they are the ones basically who controls a very vast infrastructure, and but their infrastructure can also be targeted by attack if they find any flaw, be it your physical or be it on your logical related part. So every single one of these component basically has a potential point of attack or a crucial place to build the defenses also, and it's very important that we build some sort of a defenses over there. And what is the main? There's one main component, that's the firewall. It basically tells you when to walk in and when to walk out. It monitors every sort of the traffic, whichever is going in and whichever is going out. So where you can have a very lot more controls to your infrastructure. Well, that's how the internet works, and I hope you have gained a new perspective about the internet working mechanism. If you have learned anything new today, hit that like button, subscribe to my new YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.